I am so interested to see how the media reacts to this album because it's been 3 days and they still haven't said anything. In terms of reviews, there's one review, got the Guardian review, which gave it 4 stars, and not that I give a shit about reviews or ratings, but I feel like I'm so entertained by how difficult I feel like they're scrambling in how to review Kids See Ghosts because of how the media narrative has kind of built up what they're putting up as the image of Kanye West when everything is so contradicted by this album. Really, it was by the last album as well. The thing is, I was so appalled last week when Yay the album came out, and people were giving it so much shit because of who Kanye was as a person. When the album literally explains his diagnosis with being bipolar, how he's mentally unstable. He suffers lots of instability with mood, with ways of expression. He is struggling with a lot of mental health issues. He was diagnosed as bipolar. These people don't realize it's a mental health disorder that he was diagnosed with. And then the response of the media was to absolutely shit on him and give him a lot of flack for just not being able to control himself. It's just awful because you get someone such a big celebrity saying I am mentally ill, and then everyone just shits on him for his actions that came from being mentally ill. Not that he doesn't believe what he was saying, but just he was unable to control himself and he is very unstable mood. I think not that it totally excuses what he said, but I think it's definitely something you should really think about. And the media was absolutely trash the Kanye, absolutely trash. And when you read the reviews for Ye, it was so awful to see how they were not even reviewing the music. They were reviewing his supposed character that was built up by TMZ or something, and all these shitty media outlets. I think the media is awful and they're all shit. But I think they're scrambling with Kids See Ghosts because you combine Kanye West coming out bipolar, his bipolar diagnosis and going to rehab, a mental health institution, coming back revitalized, and you combine it with Kid Cudi, who recently, or a couple of years ago, he posted on Facebook about how he was getting suicidal urges and suicidal tendencies and depressed as fuck, and he went to a mental hospital and went to rehab and tried to get better. And this is Kanye and Kid Cudi coming together to collectively feel the love, collectively rap about just being out of the sunken place, being happy finally after all these years of struggle. And it's kind of, I bet they're having such a hard time to review the album because it doesn't fit into their narrative of sorts, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Because the level of production in this album is comparable to Ye and Daytona, if not better. And there are no there's such the problem. There's just so little to nitpick about it. The lyrics are fantastic, not fantastic, but they're not controversial in any way. Kanye West is rapping with so much with more energy than I've ever seen him, or maybe since college dropout or something. He's rapping with so much happiness and energy, maybe graduation, but it's just he has a Kid Cudi is kind of doing the same thing that Kid Cudi's always been capable of doing since Man in the Moon 2. But now since it's I think a lot of the problems with his previous works was not necessarily him, but it was the length of his projects. And now with a very small bit of Cudi in 7 songs, it's it's you realize how unique of an artist that he is and how great he is as well when he has the opportunity to showcase his talents. I love how Feel the Love ends with his just barrage of sounds of complete utter catharsis. It's just you have Pusha T coming off the start and giving his Daytona post Daytona just as another celebration of sorts of where he is. Maybe it's like a victory lap of sorts for Pusha T, and then you get this cathartic release of Kanye West and Kid Cudi just feeling the love and screaming and this crazy vocalization of sorts that just feels so cathartic, that leads into Fire, which sounds like the instrumental sounds like Black Skinhead. Like it's extremely Fire, produced by Andre 3000 as well, and it's a great album, a great song. And then when you finally hear the rapping of Kanye West, I done prove it to myself, back on ruling myself, and it's just like holy shit, he's back, he's on top of his game. Ye was very emotional for him. It was about the emotional progression of his life up to that point, and it was about catching people up with where he is in his mental state, and it was very story structured, right? And this one is like, I'm back, I'm happy, back to being energetic raps, very creative and on top of the world. And Kid Cudi comes in his first verse of the album says, "It's so many days I prayed to God, all this pain I couldn't seem to find a way." You know, it's really, it opens up with just this declaration that we are better now. We found God in our lives, and we feel energized. We feel reborn, and I think it's hard to the media to review that, because what are they gonna shit about? They're gonna shit on these people who suffered lots of mental health issues and they finally got back to themselves. And they're trying to celebrate and share the love with everyone around them. I think it's, they can't, the media shits on messages. Media reviews messages. They don't review music for what they don't analyze music, or they don't think about the music on their own. They shit on messages. They shit on character, whatever. Um, Fire is a great song. It sounds like the instrumental reminded me of Black Skinhead. Fourth Dimension has an amazing soul sample. Where Fourth Dimension, I think, is my favorite song on the album. I love the opening sample of sorts. Uh, I just love the energy on the album. The energy of the album is on a whole different level. It's, the rhythms are so um, so rapid, and it's there's a lot of very intriguing syncopated beats going on that Kanye very specializes, and he's been doing much over the last few years. And I don't think necessarily that this album is something completely new, but it's this interested. But you know, it is fun, and that's more than what people expect. They like fun Kanye, and fun Kanye. Ye was not necessarily fun Kanye. It was emotional Kanye. It was borderline. It was depressive Kanye moving into accepting him of himself Kanye. This one is back. We're back to fun, energetic, loving Kanye that many people first fell in love with him for. And Kid Cudi, in small doses, Kid Cudi is incredibly fun. I did not listen to his last album because it was so long, but I liked the single. I loved Surfin'. I thought Surfin' was a great song. One of my favorite singles over the last few years. Free Ghost Town Part 2 is so interesting because uh, it doesn't sound like, I was thinking about it earlier. I was listening to the album again, and I couldn't think of what genre of music it was, because it wasn't hip hop. It wasn't. They were not rapping on the song. They're kind of doing that weird rap singy thing. They're not even singing really. They're kind of saying words, without any specific. I don't know. I guess they're rapping, but the music doesn't sound like rap. It sounds like a kind of psychedelia that I don't want to call it psychedelic rock, because if you think of psychedelic rock as a genre of music, and you trace its lineage, its roots back to the 60s, this is not what psychedelic rock sounds like. This is not psychedelic rock. It was called psychedelic rock not necessarily because of the sound. I know that's how we kind of normally talk about it right now. We think of the sounds of psychedelic rock, which is true. You get some stuff like when you hear the Nuggets compilation, they have a kind of a unique sound. But psychedelic rock, in its heyday, was specifically about the culture around the time, and the people who were influenced by psychedelic drugs and the music that they were making in this new state of mind of sorts. And you get, because if you listen to psychedelic rock in the 60s, they're so different from each other. Anyway, sorry, I'm going too away from this. Whatever. The album, the song Free doesn't sound doesn't sound like hip hop. Doesn't sound like psychedelic rock specifically. It sounds like this weird. I guess it sounds more new. I think it sounds like a new sound, like a new rock inspired hip hop thing that I know has been kind of being done recently by some younger artists as well. But this is, I think, it was a highlight of the album. And when you hear it with headphones, so I listened to this a couple of times on headphones and with speakers. Listen to Free with headphones. Oh, the headphones over here. Listen to it with headphones, and then listen carefully to the vocalizations on when they say Free. It's absolutely incredible, so moving. If you listen to the album, close your eyes, listen to the album, and just get into it for 25 minutes. It is an incredible experience in a way that I don't necessarily get when I hear it on speakers, because you hear more of the lyrics and you don't hear as much of the instrumentation and whatever, all this stuff. Anyway, Free is one of the great songs of the album. That's my favorite moment of the album, is when they say Free a bunch of times and they vocalize and they harmonize, and it just feels so euphoric, and they're just so happy to be finally reborn. And you get into the next song, right, where this is the first song on the album that Kanye doesn't really produce. Kanye actually he's getting credit for this whole Kurt Cobain thing, but even though if you actually look at the liner notes of the song, he doesn't actually produce the Cudi montage, but which has that Kurt Cobain sample. But anyway, Kid Cudi, I'm so reborn. I'm moving forward. And arguably when I first heard it, I thought when I first heard it on the live stream, I thought it was going for too long, and then I listened to it again with headphones with my eyes closed, and it just it drags you along into this state of mind that is so filled with optimism and progression that it's so contagious, I think. I know a lot of people are loving the album. They love Reborn. What's one of the songs people love? And I think it has the best verse on the album by Kanye. Not necessarily the best verse lyrically, but I like the energy on the verse very much. And it's just it's so nice to see these two people coming to this place in their mind where they feel so free, they feel so relaxed, they feel so post their mental health issues, you know. Like Kid Cudi maybe more so than Kanye in terms of lyrical content about how he's specifically dealing with it, maybe because Kanye already deals a lot of it with on EA. But you know, Kid Cudi, I had my issues, ain't that much I could do, but peace is something that starts with me, At times wonder my purpose, easy then to feel worthless, but peace is something that starts with me. You know, it's just the lyrical content of this album is so positive and so nice to hear, especially in a world where we're in right now, where everyone's just so negative and so scared and harmful, and thinking, and they're thinking lots about, you know, um, there's just a lot of people who don't agree with another and they don't listen to each other right now, and we have this album that's just so positive and it just filled with people saying that we went through the worst parts of our lives and we're out on the other side and we're happy. Kids See Ghosts is the next song, and I think, you know, obviously I think Kids See Ghosts comes from this idea that when you're a kid, you are not necessarily as socially constructed in your worldviews and your ways of thinking, and your mind is kind of not as limited by society to some degree, maybe. And when you're a kid, maybe that makes you see more, and when you get older, you get more into certain kinds of mind tunnels and stuff, and reality tunnels that make you see things in a more specific way that makes you see less. And kids see more the fact that they even see ghosts. Kids see ghosts. So this is a great song as well. You get Yasin Bey on it. You got Mos Def. Great song. I don't want. I'm talking for too much. I want to get over with. But here you get a bridge, right? You get civilization without society, power and wealth with nobility, stability without stasis, places and spaces. I think this is the supposed utopia of sorts that Kanye West and Kid Cudi perhaps are envisioning in their post reborn state. This place with just people everyone who lives their high life lives great, and everything's stable without hostility with each other, and everyone's just happy, which is, you know, which is good mindset to be in, I think, when you're kind of having that much optimism in life. Cudi Montage, another great song. Kanye West, everybody, he you know, references Nas, everybody want world peace till your knees get shot in the dome pieces in the head or something. So yeah, I mean, this whole album in general, I think, is fantastic because of how it deals with lots of it's a very perfect culmination of their state of mind and where they are right now, and it's just so positive and contagious, and you just want to feel love while you're listening to the album. I feel like it's hard to shit on the album because in terms of the media, so I'm very interested to see how they do it, because they'll find a way. Will they criticize the production? I don't think so, because the production's the only thing they praised on Kanye West's last on Ye. The only thing they could praise safely was the production. So they can't shit on the production. They can't shit on the lyrics. The lyrics are pretty good. Nothing too cringy. Maybe you can argue that some people don't like Kid Cudi singing, but come on, how can you shit on someone who's just so cathartic and joyful? So yeah, I'm very interested to see how the media reacts to this. As of right now, again, there are no reviews. There's one review that was 4 stars by The Guardian, but they give Ye 4 stars too, so they're much more, they separate themselves more, I think, from their experiences of these pieces of art, because maybe they're I think The Guardian's in the UK, so they're not as into with the media of the US. But yeah, I like this album a lot. I think I prefer Ye because I like the sonic progression of and sonic and thematic progression that goes from, you know, dark to bright, and there's just more. I think there is more cohesive thought into the sonic structure of Ye. which is you can argue it's weird because he recorded it in much less time. But I do think that Ye has a bit more, and I think also just because I'm so involved, I'm so I'm so into like this Kanye West as a person and his story and his life, and I'm very what is the word for it? I am very I just like Kanye West. So when I hear I like hearing how how he come to this point in his life and how he's able to just feel the love from dark to high now, because this album is all about the highs. I like the whole progression of bad to good. This is all good, which is great as well, and I'm a big fan of this album. It's a 3 out of 3 for good music this month. So yeah, it's a great album. I think want to hear what other people have to say about it, and how they manage their shit on it, because I don't really see necessarily any clear signs of problems with it. So yeah.